sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Florida.
Oh, what a weekend it's been. Under the Friday night lights, Michael Franco powered the first-place Phillies to a series opening win. But the Marlins responded behind a terrific pitching performance from Trevor Richards. It was a Saturday afternoon that included timely hits and that patented Marlins defense that we have been accustomed to in the first half. As the All-Star break looms, so does a Sunday series finale between two NL East rivals. The rubber match is next. Hi, everybody. On a beautiful Sunday afternoon, the unofficial first half of the season wraps up. It is game 98 on the year, but the All-Star break begins at the conclusion of this one. First things first, the last of a three-game set between the Phillies and the Marlins. And the first place Phillies, well, the Marlins are trying to take 2 out of 3 from them and 2 out of 3 against first place teams in back-to-back series. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, this first half winds down, and they always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. The Marlins, yes, they started 5-17, but over the course of their last 38 games, they are 2 games over 500.
Well, they played great baseball. Marlins style, and I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a little bit different than everybody else. It's not always offensive, the offense that we talk about. It's been a little bit more offensive in June and July. But again, they're finding their way to win, and that's what's been the key. You know, much like yesterday, you lose 2-0 in game 1, you win yesterday 2-0. Great defense. It's been the backbone of this team. The starting pitching has been so much better. 4 consecutive quality starts from the starters, giving you a chance to win a baseball game.
Yeah, and 13 starts in a row here for Jose Urena that have been pretty good. Over the course of those 13, he's pitching to an ERA of 3.55.
Well, and maybe Ureña's the best example of what this first half really has been all about. I've said all along, listen, Ureña's pitched better than the numbers to tell you. He's still looking for his first win at home this season. Hard for me to believe, but he's pitched much better than that. So his last 2 games since coming off the DL, pretty good stuff. Real aggressive with the fastball, great movement, good arm side run on that sinker, and the slider certainly factoring in. You saw a really good one right there.
Yeah, he has been crisp, and again, from the beginning of the season, the first few starts, he has shaved a couple of runs off that ERA. He's really settled in and showing everybody why, over the course of the last couple of months, why he got the start on opening day way back when the Chicago Cubs were in town. But now it's the Phillies in town, and it's not Zach Eflin. He is on the disabled list because of a blister, so it's Enyel De Los Santos, one of their top prospects.
Now, De Los Santos made his major league debut about 5 days ago and pitched a fantastic ball game. Not only got the Philadelphia Phillies into first place that day with an outstanding effort, picked up his first major league win. So, listen, he's probably poised for today's start, but a good opportunity for the Marlins to go out there and win a game that on paper says they've got the better starter.
Right, and yesterday they got to Aaron Nola. We'll see if they can get to De Los Santos today and close out the first half with a victory. We'll hear from Don Mattingly on what these first 98 games have been like next. We send it downstairs to Kelly Sacco.
It's the final game before the All-Star break, and the Marlins have a chance to end the first half of the season on a high note. Here's Don Mattingly on his thoughts on the team's first half performance.
Our effort's been great. I think the guys have fought. We're a team that's, I think, gaining an approach as far as a team, the way we hit. A lot of good things, but I still think you expect to win, right? And there's a lot of games we could have won in this first half, and it changed the narrative even more than it is. We really could have won a lot more games. So I think in general you're happy with the effort and the way it's going, the way guys are playing, but you still want to be better. And I think that's where I think we always can't be satisfied with good stories and guys that are getting a few guys getting better. We got to get better.
Is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Beautiful day at the beach. But a beautiful day inside Marlins Park as the Phillies and Marlins wrap up the first half of the season. Jose Urena, the guy who threw the first pitch of the big league season in 2018, will face this lineup. The Phillies batting order presented to you by Southwest. Cesar Hernandez at the top. Rhys Hoskins hits number 2. Odubel Herrera had a 45-game on-base streak earlier this year. Well, he will hit in the number 3 spot today. Ready for baseball between these two NL East rivals. Urena into the wind, and his first pitch is in there for a called strike. We are underway for Urena. Well, as Holly mentioned in the open, still looking for his first home win of the year. 2-9 on the year. And he is ahead 0-2 to Hernandez.
Well, he certainly is. 0-7, 3.82 ERA at Marlins Park this year. That just blows my mind. 3.82 ERA certainly should be good enough to get it done. He's been pitching much better of late. A couple of decent starts since coming back off the disabled list. Last start against the Brewers, July 9th. 5 2/3, 7 hits, couple earned runs, 4 Ks. He's been good. He's improving. He's very good against the Phillies. Last 3 games against the Phillies, how about a 2.37 ERA, including early May, late April, that same series. 7 innings, 1 earned run against this Philadelphia Phillies ball club.
Hernandez chops one to the right side. It is Castro to Cooper. 1 up and 1 down here in the first.
Here are your Marlins defensively for this afternoon's ball game. Dietrich getting the start in left, Maben in center, Anderson in right, Rojas, Riddle, Castro, Cooper over at first base, JT Realmuto behind the plate. One more time before the All-Star game. Urania on the mound. Marlins picked up their 8th shutout of the season yesterday. And we continue to talk about how good this defense has been really all season long.
There's Rhys Hoskins, 2 for 7 in the series, 14 homers, 56 RBIs. Will be in the home run derby tomorrow night. And able to scoot out of the way of that one. 1-1. But check that, 2-0.
Yeah, we've seen this a few different times. We've talked about it over the last couple of years. Urania's developed the 2-seam fastball, high velocity, 96, 97 miles an hour. It puts sluggers on point. If you're a right-handed hitter and you tend to creep out over home plate, Urania will catch your attention with a 2-seamer that explodes, is the word I like to use, towards that inside corner.
I would tend to agree. I'm sure there's a few right-handed hitters that would agree as well. And I mentioned in the open for Urania just how he has really settled in. He started the season with a 5.88 ERA in his first 5 starts. But in the 13 starts since then, an ERA right around 3.5. 3 or fewer runs 9 times. And Don Mattingly said before the game today, whatever the numbers may show you, whatever the numbers may tell you, he's pitching better this year than he did last year.
Oh, he is, most definitely. I mean, anybody who watches him every day knows that he is. And that one sails above the strike zone and in just a bit. First walk of the day. Interestingly enough, that's kind of where I was going. The one thing that really stands out to me is his control. Last year would get into good runs, and again, it wasn't that he would get hit at times, he would get wild at times. This year you really haven't seen that. Maybe you would fault him for getting a little too aggressive at times, and again, we do talk about this. Those small pockets in innings where 10, 15 pitches he gets hit a little bit, but that's just it. He actually has worked more towards the middle than off those corners. One thing that you trust with Urania is that he's going to be aggressive every time out.
He kind of knows one speed in that sense.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a tenacity in that.
Right.
And listen, the players behind it love it. I mean, that's just it. I mean, you may not be best friends with Jose Urania as far as teammates go, but you love playing behind a guy like this, if you understand where I'm going with that.
Absolutely.
It doesn't really matter. The way that he attacks hitters, the way that he pitches, players love. There's activity, there's action going on behind, and keeps you on your toes. You know, a lot of times you talk about it, you know, you'll get some of the game's greatest. They'll go out and strike out 12, 14 in a ball game, you know, walk nobody, but it's like, you know, there's pace in between. And, you know, for a defender, games like that can be a little bit boring sometimes.
Right. You want to feel like you're in the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Urania does that. He works fast. He keeps everybody on their toes. He's ready to roll.
Kind of slipped out. May have slipped out of his hands. A ball and no strikes on a wide one to Odubel Herrera with Hoskins off of first. Also misses away. 2-0. For Herrera this year, 9 for 29. Let me try that again. It's the second day in a row that whatever note I had for Herrera, I looked at Hernandez. I stop at HER and then I just throw in the towel. I figure, well, it's got to be the guy.
There's 2 guys that qualify.
Yeah, exactly. Not good. Let me try this again. 12 for 30 this year, Odubel Herrera, in 8 games against the Marlins. You mentioned the 2 starts off the DL for Urania, this being now his 3rd. So the way that it all kind of shook out, Don Mattingly gave the rotation coming out of the break earlier today and where Urania will slot into it. as he misses inside 3-2 to Herrera. So they had kind of hoped that he would get 2 starts off the DL, 2 starts going into the break. Instead, it will be 3. So Urania pushed back. He'll get the 4th game out of the break. So it's going to go Dan Straley, Pablo Lopez, and Trevor Richards will start in the 3 games at the Tampa Bay Rays. And then a 2-game series with the Braves right after that as Herrera strikes out. Urania and Chen in the 2 games against the Braves. One on, 2 out for Carlos Santana. An offseason acquisition for the Phillies, who has really been scuffling, at least in terms of the batting average this year. He's at .211 right now. Over the course of his last 23 games, he's hitting just .162 for Gabe Kapler, but he's getting on base 35% of the time with 23 walks in that span.
Well, one thing I know Santana's sick and tired of is the Marlins. He hasn't hit them well all season. 129 batting average against, only 4 hits in 8 games, this game number 9. And at Marlins Park, he's now, well, coming into this at bat, 2 for 27. Down on the count, 0-2.
See some frustration from Urania. We've seen that again a lot, that tailing action, or when he's wild, sometimes it is to that arm side, and we've seen it already a few times for the first 19 pitches here today. That one low, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and that's what he battles, the fastball command. Obviously, we talk about the explosive nature of that 97-mile-an-hour fastball, certainly a big part of what he does. But getting it there, getting it in the zone. Where does he start it out? Where is the release point so that it starts out over the plate, gets to the corner, but maintains, you know, accuracy inside that strike zone? He can't have it moving 4 or 5 inches off those outside corners or more, because he's not going to get those calls.
Chop foul toward the camera well.
That 2-seam fastball start in off the plate and work its way back to the inside corner.
3 men on the right side of the infield against Santana, who takes just a little low. This is the home plate umpire, Todd Titchener.
I'll tell you what, it's a pretty good pitch, pitcher's pitch, no doubt, at the bottom of the zone. I think what's so surprising is not only is it a strike, as you see it catches the bottom of the zone, how does Santana not try to defend that pitch? Defend against it, I should say.
Runner goes on 3-2, fouled back to the screen. So it's Titchener behind the plate, Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, at first, Sean Barber, the umpire, at second, and Eric Cooper is down the third baseline. Nick Williams waits on deck. A ground out, a walk, a strikeout so far. As Urania deals another 3-2 to Santana. Grounded to Cooper at first. He'll step on the bag, and Urania works around the walk. We head to the bottom of the first here at Marlins Park. Scoreless. He wasn't stressing that much after a walk in the first inning, but he did strand the runner, so 1 inning in the books for Jose. And now we'll see if the Marlins can give him some run support this afternoon. Here is their lineup presented to you by Southwest. Eric Dietrich in the top spot. Brian Anderson, who has put together a great first half of the season, in the lineup and in right field. And of course, JT Realmuto will be hopping on a bird to Washington, D.C. to take part in the All-Star festivities once this game concludes. Enyel De Los Santos on the mound for the Phils, and his first pitch is fouled off behind the third base dugout. 0-1. So De Los Santos is 16 starts at AAA. We thought that it was going to be Zach Eflin today, but Eflin placed on the DL last night with a blister issue, so it is Santos who goes today.
On Tuesday, made his major league debut. We showed you his AAA numbers. She pitched on July 10th against the New York Mets. Picked up a win. Interestingly enough, that day the Phillies moved back into first place. So he kind of pitched him to the top spot. 6 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks, again against the Mets in New York. He picked up his first major league win. So this is start number 2 here in 2018 for De Los Santos. 6'3", 22 years old.
This is up and into Dietrich. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And probably no surprise there. I might as well throw it out now. Loves to elevate his fastball. 4 of the 6 strikeouts in that last start against the Mets came at the top of the zone or higher. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, arm side run.
And Dietrich works the leadoff walk here in the first.
Here's your Auto Nation scouting report of De Los Santos. Well traveled and very interesting journey. Signed in 2014 with the Mariners. Non-drafted free agent out of the Dominican Republic. Traded to the Padres for Joaquin Benoit. Familiar with that name, so certainly recognize that. And then was traded from San Diego to Philly for Freddie Galvis. So again, a few different organizations certainly think very highly of De Los Santos. Now, opportunity knocking. We showed you his AAA numbers. Outstanding. I mean, he's earned his way here. 9-3 record, 189 ERA. In his minor league career, 3.30 ERA. So again, well traveled. He's done a lot of things to get himself this opportunity. His arsenal today will be the 4-seam fastball, change slider, and curve. The scouting report reads as Brian Anderson fouls it off that front leg. Thank goodness for shin guards. My goodness.
Making sure it's on there after that.
Get another quick look here. He fouls it right off the shin guard. Thank goodness that's there. Boy, oh boy, you can break a leg. Trust me, I know. Now, according to the scouting reports, you look at his secondary pitches. We've seen the changeup and the curveball already. As it reads, he usually has one but not the other. Very rarely has he's got the changeup and the curve working. Usually he's leaning on one a lot more than the other. You notice he's got a very quick, short delivery. Not a long strider, not a long arm either.
Fouled away again, still 0-2. Anderson 1 for 8 in this series, 7 for 29 with a home run, 6 RBIs against the Phillies this year. Yeah, the delivery looks a little bit like either a catcher or a batting practice pitcher. A little unorthodox for a pitcher, for a starting pitcher.
That's right. Well, I mean, it's a short armor, right?
Yeah.
We call them dart throwers. You know, the idea of throwing a dart, right? You kind of hone in on that bullseye, and right, you pull the dart back just a little bit right about your ear, and then you kind of let it go. Well, he kind of gives you that same impression, and as a hitter, you've got to really make sure the front side is down early because the ball comes quick. There's not a big takeaway. Nice job, my goodness.
Excellent piece of hitting by Anderson. And the Marlins have 2 on here in the first inning. Just kind of flicked it out there over the infield.
That look tells it all. This is the big leagues. Yep, you hang a slider, things like this can happen. How about hit number 107 with one hand on the bat, just extending through, leveling off, and getting his first hit of the afternoon. Nice job by Brian Anderson down the count. Well, that's one storyline that I hope picks up in the second half. We've talked about it an awful lot in the first half. His approach, it has been awful fun to watch.
2 on, nobody out for JT Realmuto. 0 for 2 yesterday, a walk, a hit by pitch, looking for his first hit in this series. He's 0 for 6. But a hit here could give the Marlins the early lead. They scored 2 runs yesterday, both in the first inning against Aaron Nola. And they had Dietrich and Anderson both on to begin the day.
Well, hits hard to come by in this series. Both teams struggling to score runs. We've only seen 4 runs scored. 2 has done the trick in both games.
One ball, 1 strike, 2 on, nobody out. And here it comes from De Los Santos. It gets away from Andrew Knapp. Dietrich to third, Anderson to second.
Now this slider certainly chased by JT. I believe they called him on the swing. I believe that Knapp probably should have kept that ball in front.
I wonder if there was a cross-up, because he immediately went out to the mound, and they're calling that a pass ball. I think he was looking for the express and got the local.
Right. Definitely can happen. As we mentioned, De Los Santos in his second big league start. That's the 11th pass ball this first half of the Philadelphia Phillies, top 5 in Major League Baseball.
Well, the Phils will play the corners even with the bag. Middle infielders are back against JT, who taps this one toward Castro in the on-deck circle. 1 and 2. Now the Toyota inside look. 4 combined runs. Two games, 2-0 affairs. The fewest runs in a 3-game series, 7 between these two clubs. That was back in 2010. No 3-game series has included 3 shutouts. And the Marlins involved in the lowest scoring 3-game series of the year against Colorado. Lined and caught by Kingery at short.
Now pretty good contact. That ball got in maybe just a bit on JT, but enough to certainly hit it hard through the middle, but right at Kingery. Job by both base runners as they freeze. Nice job by Anderson. Boy, oh boy, the dynamic of the inning could have changed. They turn 2. Instead, you still have an opportunity, a good one. Push a run across and take a lead in a series in which there has not been many runs.
Starlin Castro 0 for 8 in the series, 3 for 21 on this homestand. But if you look at his last 19 games, he's hitting .377, 4 homers and 10 RBIs.
Now Starlin understands the importance of the situation. Certainly did yesterday. Fell behind, 2 strikes, and found contact. It wasn't hard contact. It was slow contact in that first inning, and got one of the most important runs of that game across home plate against Aaron Nola.
And that one gets away from Knapp, but it kicks off the backstop, and Dietrich will stay put at third. Well, that took a fortuitous bounce for the Phillies, or else it'd have been 1-0.
Did it ever? I guess if you're going to miss it as bad as you can so that you can get the ricochet. That almost made it all the way back. In fact, it did make it all the way back to the dirt, or it would have anyway.
So 2 balls and no strikes. Again, corners in, middle infield back. As Castro takes low. 3 balls and no strikes. So I guess one thing that we've learned in the first few batters of this game, that lower third of the strike zone may not be in the strike zone today.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You're right. We've now seen, what, 3 pitches inside the strike zone, low at the knees, but not called strikes.
Castro green light on 3-0, fouls it away, 3-1. They're making the youngster work. Next pitch will be number 22 in the inning. Castro, as we head into this all-star break, which starts at the end of this ball game, 5th in the National League in hits with 110 at the start of the day, and inside the top 20 in average, 289. And here comes the 3-1 to Starlin. Fouls it back.
Castro and Anderson both tied, leading this team with multi-hit games, both at 31. We talk about it a lot, internal competition. I find stuff like that always fun. Always good to have a teammate kind of pushing you.
That's right. Anderson's already got one today. Your move, Starlin.
That's right.
Here comes a 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. And there are 2 away.
Wow, a huge strikeout for De Los Santos and the Phillies. I tell you, he's leaning on that changeup an awful lot, and maybe that's the secondary pitch he goes to. He did throw it most in the Mets start, 16 of them, but boy, he's gone to it a few different times. Fastball 94-95, and a center cut changeup. Maybe just a slight arm side run, but more about deception in lack of velocity than movement.
JT Riddle 2 on 2 out. Takes a look at a fastball, 0-1. JT came in as a defensive replacement late in the game yesterday and made the play in foul ground that ended the ball game. A ball down the left field line, kind of in no man's land, but he raced over, made a bit of a basket catch, and that sealed the 2-0 Marlins win. This one out toward left center field. Herrera a long way over, but it will be Hoskins. And that one kept slicing back toward left. De Los Santos strands a couple. Phillies and Marlins wrap up the first half of the season today. And the American military personnel serving overseas watching this game on AFN, the American Forces Network. Welcome those of you in countries around the world aboard naval ships and seas, and thank you for your service. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth with you on a Sunday afternoon here at Marlins Park. Nick Williams to lead things off. Maikel Franco and Scott Kingery against Jose Urena, who issued a walk in the first, got a strikeout, and left a Philly on base. So scoreless we go to the second for Nick Williams, who was 0 for 4 in the series. Skies this one over the third base dugout, not a play, 2-1. Williams 3 for 11 this year against the Marlins in 6 games played. Lines one out to right field. Anderson drifts back to the track. 1 away.
Please join us for Salute and Serve presented by Ticked on July 23rd as we invite those who serve to join us for a ball game. Active and retired U.S. military personnel, veterans, firemen, and police officers receive 2 complimentary tickets when showing their official service IDs at the center field entrance at Marlins Park. For more information, visit marlins.com/offers.
Maikel Franco now. First pitch swinging to Riddle at short. 2 up, 2 down. Well, Urena issuing a walk in the first inning. He only had 1 walk in his last start, and it was the second to last batter he faced against Milwaukee. That was the night that Brian Holliday had the walk-off single in the first inning, in the 10th inning rather. It's hard to have a walk-off in the first, I suppose.
Yeah.
See enough baseball games, I'm sure you'll see anything once, right? The first extra inning, maybe that's what I meant. I don't know. I'll clean it up somehow. But yeah, so 1 walk for Urena. He's met his quota. Give up an RBI single to Kane, a solo home run to Aguilar, but again pitched well that day and has pitched well the last couple of months, but still looking for his first win here at home. Speaking of wins, it was only the 4th time in 18 outings that the Marlins won one of his starts that last time out. This one chopped left side. It is Rojas, gets rid of it quick. And on just 8 pitches, Urena sets down the Phillies in order. T-shirt here on Sandlot Day here at Marlins Park. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Well, there's another one. Yeah, Sandlot Day, 25 years of that terrific baseball film. Bobbleheads of Ham Porter today. I believe there was a special ticket package to get a special Squints bobblehead. There's the Ham Porter bobblehead. Nice. Really cool. Garrett Cooper, Miguel Rojas, Cameron Maben here in the second against De Los Santos. Also before the game today, a really cool thing the Marlins did was it was play catch day. So lots of families as Cooper sends one down the right field line. Fair ball. Makes a turn towards second. Here comes the throw, and not in time. It's a leadoff double for Garrett Cooper.
Congratulations to Garrett Cooper. His first big league double, always good to see. First extra base hit. There you go. Well, we've seen his swing. He really loves to keep those hands inside the baseball and go the other way, and he catches a break here. Williams was expecting that ball to hit and to run more towards to where Williams was cutting across. Cooper, great read off the bat. He pushes the accelerator down and says, I'm going for two here. It's a bit of a misread on Williams' part. The way that ball hit, it kind of checked up when it hit the turf. Williams had to come get the baseball. Good base running there by Cooper. Good read going around first base.
So another runner in scoring position. Here's Miguel Rojas. There's a strike. So just to finish that thought, lots and lots of it. Basically, the whole outfield was full today of families playing catch before the game. Really nice job. Really fun to see. Rojas 0 for 3 yesterday. A couple of hits in the series. Dribbler back to the mound, and Cooper will release toward third once De Los Santos makes the play at first. That'll bring up Cameron Maben. 0 for 2 yesterday, a walk and a stolen base. He's had a bunch of those as of late. He's 5th in baseball in July in stolen bases with 4 of them. Right now trying to steal the game's first run. Infield plays in for the Phillies as Maben takes a strike. Chokes up against De Los Santos, who delivers the 0-1 pitch. This one popped up. Going to stay on the infield. Hernandez for out number 2. I'll bring up Jose Urania now. Now for De Los Santos, he is from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, which is known as the cradle of shortstops. So perhaps that's why he's got such a good arm. But yeah,
played there. There's a few shortstops that have come through San Pedro de Macorís. I played in La Romana, so not too far away, just down the road, about 30 minutes.
Yeah. Starlin Castro is from there. Robinson Cano is from there. Sammy Sosa, Alfonso Soriano, the list goes on and on. Right back to De Los Santos. Well, he's got hands like a shortstop.
Throws like a shortstop.
Through 2. Scoreless.
Urania is really, I mean, I know that, like, I think he's 2-8. I mean, this he's pitched way better this year than last year. And to me, he's growing as a pitcher and has a chance to continue to do that. This guy's a presence in our rotation as far as who he is, his work ethic, the way he attacks the games. This is a big-time guy in our rotation.
And we love to put facts behind what we see with our eyes. Certainly Don Mattingly knows better than all of us what he's seen from Urania this first half, and he's absolutely right. You know, what does that make you want to do? It makes you want to go look up the numbers and see the improvement. And guess what? We've got a laundry list of areas we can go here if you want to talk about this all day long. He's allowing less home runs. His whip is down from last year. He's got it down to 119. Last year it was 127. How about this? His strike percentage is up to 60s. You see one right there, first pitch of this inning. 63%. It's up 3% from last year. That's significant when you talk about a 100-pitch effort inside of a ball game. So that is up. And at the same time, he is throwing less pitches per inning. 6.1 down a pitch an inning. So again, significant. You mentioned the walks. How about this growth? Makes quick work of De Los Santos. In 17, 3.39 walks per 9 inning. So far this season, again, we're at the halfway mark or just a little bit past it, so you know where I'm going with this. I mean, he's got to keep this going here in the second half. He's got it down to 206. So nearly a walk and a half per start. Ks per 9, oh, by the way, up to 7.3. Last year it was at 5.99. And really the one thing, to Don Mattingly's point, the biggest gap in, well, we'll call it sabermetric knowledge, if you will, the run support. He just doesn't get it. It's really what it comes down to. Last year, won 14 ball games, solid season, no doubt about it, but was getting 5.7 runs of support. This year he's getting 2.84, one of the lowest in the National League. Urania most definitely has been better than he was last year in winning 14 games. This year, just not getting the wins.
After the strikeout of De Los Santos, it's Andrew Knapp, and then the top of the order, Cesar Hernandez. And of course, you mentioned the wins, and I'm with you. I mean, you talk to enough pitchers, you know that when you're in the heat of battle, to get through that 5th inning sometimes, or to walk away after 7 or 8 strong innings with a W next to your name, that still means something to the individuals. Absolutely. I do also understand where some of the new school fans come from and sit here and say, well, wins don't mean it. And I understand that. I don't think anybody in their right mind who loves watching this game looks and says, oh, how's this pitcher doing? Oh, he's got 2 wins. He's got 10 wins. He's got 15 wins. He's a bad pitcher, a decent pitcher, a great pitcher. Nobody does that.
Now, this isn't an old school, new school conversation. It's just new philosophy, old philosophy kind of a conversation. I mean, you look at Urania, and what do you think you want to see more of Urania? You want to see him go longer in starts. We talk pitch efficiency. You know, the idea that you'll pick up more wins if you pitch longer into ball games. Of course, that's the qualifier, because again, the rules are you've got to go 5 innings to even start the conversation. So you know where we're going. But in this day and age where we talk numbers and less is more, and that third time through the lineup where you don't want to see so many starters going that third time through, you know, to me, those are the people.
This is Anderson in right field, able to make the play, throws off balance a little high, but Knapp is back 2 away.
If you maintain that philosophy, like, okay, well, we need to see less from starters and more from bullpens, because again, that's what the numbers tell us, and that's where you want to drive the conversation. Well, of course, you're going to also be in the classification that wins are evil. No wins for anybody, because you're going to have less people who are going to qualify for them. Thus, who's going to win 300 games again? That doesn't mean anything. You might as well just throw it out the window. For Urania, and we've watched his maturation process. I mean, this young man is getting more. We're seeing more. He wants to go deeper into ball games. He wants the ball longer. We talked, it was a game in Baltimore, right? He was at 112. Everybody's like, oh, get him out of the game. And Don Mattingly, and I'm thinking, send him back out there. He's in a great spot right now. 120 to 122 shouldn't be that bad. He hasn't labored. His velocity's not coming down.
Yeah, and that, if memory serves, as Reese Hoskins is heading the count, the ball to no strikes. It was a 2-0 game, and Don Mattingly said afterwards, if we had a more wiggle room score-wise, he would have been back out there.
Right. There was nothing about that start that day that would lend you, that would lead you to believe that he needed to come out of the game just based on fatigue, tired. And here's the thing, he pitched that with a small margin that entire ball game, yet made it look rather simple. It's part of his makeup. Again, why you love playing behind the guy.
Ball and 2 strikes to Hoskins, who walked in the first inning, 1 of 2 for Urania. He, in fact, hasn't walked more than 2 in a game since opening day against the Cubs. This one grounded to Riddle, and Castro steps on the bag through 2.5 in a low-scoring game. Phillies and Marlins scoreless heading to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Don Mattingly has been happy with what he has seen throughout this season here. If you go back to June 5th, that's 38 games for the Marlins. They are 2 games over 500 in that span. And they've been pretty good. Not perfect. He'll be the first to admit they have not been perfect. It is certainly a growing year for Miami, but the last month and a half, there's been a lot to like about this club.
Well, I mean, again, you look at so many of these numbers. Obviously, the National League ranks. The ERA, to me, is what stands out. It gives you a chance to win a baseball game. We talk about it coming into today, 4 consecutive quality starts. And look at the offense. The offense starting to back it up. I mean, think back early when the team started 5-17. The idea, even inside those first 22 ball games, was that something broke down every day. It was either the bullpen broke down, the starter broke down, or the offense didn't show up. Right now, you're in a position where this team has got a little bit more of covering the bases, meaning everybody's doing their job a little bit better, which is adding up to more wins. But at the same time, there's been that idea of kind of protecting each other. We've seen a number of times the bullpen protect the starters. Offense show up in certain spots when the offense is needed to respond, and at times getting again the tempo is set every day by your starter. That's been good as well. So you add it all up, you start to get some wins. I mean, 40 wins. I get where he's at. I mean, you look at their record, they're 40-57. What's the first thing? If I told you walked in today, you're 40-57, you say, all right, what went wrong?
Right.
You don't say what went right, you say what's going wrong with this team. But when you know this story and you follow this team, you realize that the last 8 weeks of this season, 6 to 8 weeks, have been a lot more enjoyable to watch.
Dietrich strikes out for the first out here in the 3rd. And yes, Don Mattingly did mention the fact, we're 17 under 500 and 14.5 back. We don't love where we're at in the standings, but again, just breaking down, he talks about it all the time, sections of time.
Right.
Well, this team has won 7 of 11 at home, 4 of the last 5 home series, 7 of 11 series overall. It just starts to snowball.
And they've got 1 more win than the New York Mets.
Anderson with a ground ball to Franco over at 3rd. They're 2 away. And that's what I would say all the time, and I've said it throughout the series, I'm sure I'll say it 50 more times before the season is over, is that whether or not the Marlins are in the NL East race at the top of the division or fighting for one of the 2 wild card spots or not, that all remains to be seen if they can fight, scratch, and claw their way back into it. But what they can do is upset the apple cart for the other teams that right now, like the Phillies, are at the top of a division, like the Brewers, who they lost 2 out of 3. The Brewers lost 2 out of 3 here in Miami earlier this week. Those are 2 first-place teams. Look how they've played against the Dodgers.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, you're going to sit there and say, well, hey, the Dodgers are in first in the National League West, and the Marlins took 4 out of 6 from them. So whether they end up in the postseason or not, who knows? But the bottom line is, whoever gets there is going to have to go through the Marlins. Like the Reds, for example. Reds are 43 and 52. So if you just woke up today and looked at that, you'd say, well, that team's not really playing all that well.
Well, two of the hotter teams in the National League over the last. I mean, it is quite an interesting conversation because you think, you know, the Reds have already fired their, you know, the manager that started the season. They're already on manager number 2. And with that being said, you're sitting there saying to yourself, well, who's playing the best baseball in the National League? Well, a couple of those teams are actually the Marlins and the Reds.
Yeah. JT with a ground ball to short. Kingery up with it quick and out at first base. That's a heck of a play on both ends for the Phillies. Kingery, a great job to get to it, and the low throw picked out of the dirt by Santana. At the moment, it's the final out of the inning.
Safe.
But
Safe.
But the Marlins are going to take a look at it.
They would better, because they'd be taking a hit away from JT Realmuto.
So first base umpire Gary Cedarstrom and third base umpire Eric Cooper get together. This one you would think will not take long to overturn the call. And it does not. And it is a base hit. It's from what I've heard, because the umpires at first base usually go on the sound, so it's usually boom boom. So when there's a couple of things, there's the foot, then there's the short hop, then there's the glove. There's a lot to kind of get.
Well, and I don't think there was a whole lot of sound because the ball was kind of bouncing around in Santana's glove. If you watched it closely on that replay, it kind of moved around a little bit. It wasn't even a clean pick of the ball off the dirt.
Speaking of pick, JT picked off and exchanges a chuckle with De Los Santos. Thought about it for 3.
Hashtag hats off for heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans. Join T-Mobile in showing appreciation for all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Welcome back. Scoreless through 3. JT Realmuto reaching on the infield single after review, but then picked off by De Los Santos. So to the top of the 4th we go. Odubel Herrera to lead things off, then Carlos Santana and Nick Williams. There have been just 3 hits on the board today, all the Marlins. In fact, they've had 1 in each inning. Herrera 0 for 1 today, a strikeout, 1 of 2 for Urania. That one is slapped back to the screen, 1-1. Inside to Odubel Herrera. Kelly Sacco with us this afternoon, and she is with a couple of special guests.
That's right. We got some special guests here today. Well, throughout the season, the Marlins have been celebrating their 25th anniversary, and so have these guys, 25 years of the Sandlot. We are joined by director David Mickey Evans, Grant Geltz, and Marty York, though you probably know them better as Bertram Weeks and Yeah. So we're going to start with you. 25 years. Can you believe it's been 25 years?
It's amazing how quickly it goes by, and honestly, we really love the fact that everybody reminds us every 5 years how much older we're getting. It's really special, yeah.
David, this is a movie that defined a generation. Did you ever imagine it would have the impact that it's had?
I hoped it would, but no, there's no way to know that. And, it's a combination of a bunch of things, that I think people identify with it. They identify with the character. You either were one of those characters or wanted to be one of those characters. And 25 years later that we're here talking to you in this beautiful stadium, it boggles my mind.
And some of those guys who wanted to be like you guys are out there on that field right now. What does that mean to you that these guys, Major League Baseball players, want to play like you?
It's awesome. I mean, it even extends past the Major League. Like Kevin Durant's Twitter picture is Pat Renna, who played Ham. And we've met so many baseball players that just say the reason we play baseball is because of you guys. So we're humbled, we're honored, and 25 years later, it's still a great film.
And of course, fans have their favorite scenes. What are some of your guys' favorite scenes to shoot?
Oh, to shoot, my favorite was the 4th of July sequence, playing out at night under the stars like a big league player. It was pretty surreal.
That's always one that is very close to all of us out there. What about you, Marty?
My favorite scene is when they lifted me over the fence on the little harness and I came face to face with the beast. That was definitely awesome. That was my favorite. Yeah.
So speaking of the beast, just how mean was that dog, guys?
Oh, those dogs were incredible. We actually had 3 of them. The Mastiff is not known for running or jumping, so we had one that ran, one that jumped, and one that sat there, kind of like us, really, right? There was a couple guys that did one of everything.
Sat there, dude. There was 9 12-year-old guys, so the blessing was we had an infinite amount of energy, and then the curse was we had an infinite amount of energy.
Any memories stick out in particular for you guys just being around each other and just filming this show?
It was one of the best summers of our lives to be a kid and to have the privilege of not only being able to make a movie, but to build real friendships and play baseball all summer long. It was like a dream come true.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us. The cast of The Sandlot, guys, 25 years later.
All right, Kelly, guys, thanks so much. After the double for Herrera, it's a 2-1 pitch on the way to Santana. This one chopped to Cooper, and he'll step on the bag for the first out of the inning. Yeah, there's so much to like about that movie because you've got that, we've always got that kid mentality, right? Like even we always say now, well, these guys are just playing a kid's game. You got that, the baseball aspect of it, the friendship aspect of it, the humor. I mean, it was really one of those great films.
And I love it because it's in its purest form. I mean, of course, you think 25 years ago what that game meant to all of us and what the game meant in where we were in the world.
Right.
iPhones didn't exist. iPads didn't exist. Fortnite wasn't there. You know what I mean? This is what you did with your downtime. I mean, I grew up living the life of that movie. Of course, theirs was much more interesting than ours. I mean, we were playing wiffle ball every day, but again, relating to what summer was all about. Going to the pool, playing baseball. Everything always kind of wove its way back to the baseball game, which is exactly the story that's being told with the Sandlot.
Yeah, really cool.
Fireworks going off, you go to the, everything always took you back to the next game, and that's how it was. I mean, that's how it was for me as a kid growing up in the Northeast. you know, everything kind of led to that next game. And, you know, even though you lived life in between, that's what it was. You didn't have, you know, some of the distraction that you see today. I think we all relate to somebody in that movie, probably even more specifically.
Throw over to third, but Herrera is back. Well, there is something for kids. I mean, I still remember it. You played X amount of big league games, but, you know, growing up playing Little League or high school or whatever the case was, that once or twice a year where you get to play at night under the lights, like that's the day that the night you really feel like a major leaguer. That's what's cool.
Those are special, special days. You're absolutely right. You start to say, oh, the lights are on. That's the way the big guys do it.
Yeah. 3 balls and no strikes to Nick Williams, and a 4-pitch walk.
Jose Urena, one of the best in Major League Baseball at getting ground balls. We've talked about it all season long and getting ground outs. Team meeting on the mound as they prepare for Maikel Franco.
A guy you need to be aware of for sure. 4 homers this year against the Marlins. 14 RBIs in 8 games. 3 homers and 8 RBIs in 10 games on this road trip so far for the Phillies. This is a line drive, base hit into center field. Offers it the first pitch after a 4-pitch walk and puts the Phillies on the board.
Now, one thing that we've learned about Franco is not only his ability to drive in runs, but his aggressiveness at the front end of counts. I mean, we've seen it all day today. What, 2 pitches, 2 swings. This one jams him just a bit, but up in the zone, not his best slider. And this hanger is redirected into center field. So the Philadelphia Phillies strike first this afternoon. Missed opportunities for the Marlins offense. He still needs to get out of this 4th inning mess.
Inside to Scott Kingery, who grounded out to Rojas to end the 2nd inning.
Now 15 RBIs in 9 games. My goodness. Oof. Some kind of production from Franco.
He's also got 36 RBIs in this, his 55th career game against the Marlins. So he has certainly been something of a Marlins killer the last few years. But just a 1-0 deficit here in the 4th inning. A series that has not seen much offense. Tommy Hunter up in the bullpen, with De Los Santos due up next. And already Aaron Altair is in the on-deck circle.
I think it's fair to assume that all hands on deck is being applied even in theory here, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the idea that you've got the All-Star break coming up. A number of your guys are going to get plenty of rest, and well, everybody should be good to go. You find Gabe Kapler diving into that bullpen even with a lead.
Well, for De Los Santos, he worked into the 7th inning in his first major league start, and we have we reached the male grooming portion of the show now. Zach Eflin, who he's taking over for today, dealing with some blisters. This one is past the dive of Rojas and into left field. Here comes a throw from left, not in time, and it's 2-0 Phillies. Back-to-back RBI singles.
Kingery continues to swing a hot bat. Now got a 4-game hitting streak, 7 for his last 14. That ball there deflected off the glove of Rojas, slowed it down, really took any chance of throwing anybody out at home away from Dietrich.
Well, Altair back to the dugout, and De Los Santos will hit for himself. Again, De Los Santos getting the start today because Zach Eflin on the disabled list with a blister, something that he said he's been dealing with or dealt with every game last year, and then tried to let his fingernails grow a little bit longer. But then I guess last time he tried to clean up a little bit, he cut it too short, and it led to a blister. So he'll have 10 or 11 days to rest. De Los Santos gets the start today, his second big league start.
Well, clearly he's going to have to leave that to the professionals from now on.
Evidently. Take some of the meal money, get a manicure.
Emphasis on man.
Cooper's just about in the batter's box as this one is foul at the plate.
Marlins trying to capitalize on the inexperience of De Los Santos in the box and the opportunity to potentially turn 2 here and get out of this inning. Right now, most young guys who get in the box for the first time in the front end of their careers, he's getting a meeting, third base coach, is to just merely do the job, get the ball down, and hope that all goes well after that. That's how they see the responsibility. You're not asking them to directionally bunt. You've got guys slamming in on you from the corners. Rojas at third, Cooper at first. You know, ideally you would do the butcher boy in response to that. See how aggressive the Marlins are in this 0-1 pitch.
Last time Cooper was inside the pitcher's mound. He is moseying his way in. There is the butcher boy right there, and it's fouled back. And that, as an infielder, is when it gets really dangerous.
Yeah, you become real defensive. That glove comes up regardless of what's about ready to happen in hopes of defending yourself. Take another look. Yeah, when you get about 5-10 feet away from anybody with a bat. Of course, the Marlins are trusting the fact that De Los Santos will not handle himself in this situation nearly the same way. Cooper will charge hard on this one.
Once again, on 2 strikes, he showed bunt but pulls back, swings through it, and that's the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Andrew Knapp, who walked in the third. 2 runs in on the back-to-back RBI singles, Maikel Franco and Scott Kingery. First 2 games of this series ended with this score. Certainly hope that's not the case today. Marlins can crack the scoreboard at some point today against De Los Santos or anybody out of the Phillies bullpen. Knapp with a modest 4-game hit streak going for the Phils gets the start today. It's been Jorge Alfaro the last couple of days. Knapp hitting out of the number 9 spot in the order with the pitcher De Los Santos hitting number 8. 2-0. Go through the signs again. .95 miles an hour. Beats Knapp on the inside corner. 2-1. Had that 8-pitch second inning, but the first and so far here in the fourth, he has had to work through some jams, some base runners. Throw to second, and Franco is back in time. This is a Phillies team that was 4.5 games back of first place on June 19th. They enter play today 53-41, a game and a half clear of the Atlanta Braves. Woo! Mentioned those 53 wins. That ensures that the Phillies will finish the first half with their 4th highest win total before the break. Before the Midsummer Classic started back in 1933. In 93, 57 wins. In 2001, 57 wins. 1976, 56 wins. Postseason all 3 years. Gabe Kapler in his first year at the helm in Philadelphia. The Phillies playing in their 95th game of the year. Seems like the All-Star break gets a little later and later every year. Outside. 3-2, 2 outs. That'll give Franco a head start from second and Kingery a head start from first. Again, time called. Here comes ball 4. Well, that's the 4th walk of the afternoon for Urania, which again will match a season high.
It's the first time we've really seen it from Urania in a while. Inconsistency, particularly with the fastball, the 2-seamer, the running action, the ability to control it inside the strike zone. We've seen him at times lose it, but usually gets it back throughout the rest of his start. It seems like today that just has not been any type of consistent.
There's a strike to Cesar Hernandez, 0-1. Hernandez 0 for 2 today. Ground ball to second base and a fly ball out to Anderson in right. And now 0-2.
For Urania, first time through that lineup, 208 batting average again, second time through 252. Here's where you got to be careful. Obviously Hernandez in the box, 355. It goes up that third time through.
Just off the corner. Ball and 2 strikes. Now the inning started with an Odubel Herrera line drive double off the wall in right field. Then an out. Nick Williams a walk. And then back-to-back RBI singles before a strikeout and another walk. Stays alive. Eliezer Hernandez up in the pen for the Marlins. Another 1-2 pitch out to right field. Anderson is not going to get to this one as it falls in. That's going to bring home 2 more, and Hernandez on his way to third.
Yeah, baby!
And he is in there with a 2 RBI triple. In fact, that cleared the bases. My mistake.
Well, this slider didn't do much to the inside part. You see it kind of get back out over the plate. JT wanted that on the outside corner. Hernandez didn't crush it. Kind of dropped it in, teardropped it into that right field corner.
So a bases clearing triple has opened it up to a 5-0 Phillies lead. And that'll bring up Rhys Hoskins, who is the 9th man to bat here in the inning, and he takes the ball inside. Well, the control just has not been there today for Urania. Whether it has led to the walks or the fact that he's been behind in a lot of counts.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we've watched this Philadelphia Phillies lineup. We've seen some aggressive swings in the first 2 ball games, but here in Game 3, it almost seemed like right out of the gate, you know, that first at bat, Hoskins kind of set the tone. We always talk about the Phillies and their walks, right? Wanting to see more pitches, new offensive approach this year. The first 2 games kind of went against that a little bit more, but today kind of gets back to what they've done in the first half, kind of what their offensive philosophy is, which is grinding out at bats. You know, obviously Hoskins did it that first inning, and you've seen it throughout the ball game, and clearly we've seen it here in the 4th.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Again, 5 runs in this inning for the Phillies. And for Urania, 40 pitches here in the 4th.
This is a good chance this may be his last inning either way.
De Los Santos, the beneficiary of the runs today, just as he was in his first start when he got a home run from Maikel Franco to help settle the nerves a little bit. Here, a 5 spot in the 4th for the Phillies.
Bottom of the 4th inning. You know, baseball players have their own superstitions, their stylings, things they like to do if things work, things they don't if it doesn't work. Starlin Castro is one of those guys. There's only 2 ways to get in and out of the Marlins dugout. Early in this ball game, Starlin Castro came out this side of the dugout. He wound up striking out his first time up. Now, last time he never did get a chance to bat in the 3rd inning, but he came out, guess what, through the other side of the dugout. And normally he will come out to the 3rd base side of the dugout, and he really does this. If he gets hits, he keeps on coming out the same way. He actually told me, and he did this with a smirk, guys, that there are some dugouts that have 3 openings or exit ways, and he will change depending on how he does. If I don't get a hit here, I'll go out the middle, the end, and back and forth. One of those little things that you never notice. Back to you.
You know, I find if I have a good broadcast, I'll take the same route to work the next day.
That's a good idea.
If I have a bad broadcast, I try something different. I don't know if I've taken the same route 2 days in a row this year.
You haven't learned. Listen, anybody who loves this game or has played this game, if you haven't, listen, this game lends itself to that kind of, I'll call it creative thought.
Right.
I mean, listen, there's always a right way and a wrong way to do it. But isn't it amazing how players think?
Yeah. Right back to De Los Santos for the first out here in the 4th inning. All right, well, when we come back, you guys can step aside from your televisions for a few days. I'm sure we will. But when Marlins Live, presented by your South Florida Honda dealers, returns Friday at 6:30, Jessica Blaylock and Jeff Nelson will be in studio as we get set for the second half of the Citrus Series, this time at the Trop in St. Pete. The first series out of the break, just that short 3-game road trip. Short both in distance and in time.
I'm just hoping the Rays make it easier on me in the AutoNation scouting report.
No, I think
we're still going to be doing the. We think we'll still be doing the relievers starting the openers.
I haven't sunk my teeth into it yet, but I'm guessing it would be Archer out of the break. So there's probably one. Blake Snell's probably 2, and then maybe on day 3.
Well, see, that's normal. Well,
right.
I guess I'll take 1 out of 3. That's not bad.
Yeah. So that's my guess. Although I haven't heard anything officially. This one a foul ball at the plate. But Knapp quick to pounce on it and attempt the tag on Riddle.
Well, apparently too quick.
Yeah.
Probably should have let it roll. JT didn't run out of the box, but I always think that's so interesting when you see that little tap at home plate. The catcher's almost got to let it go into fair territory before he can grab it. And he's trying to be so quick to pounce on it.
Down the left field line, but that will fall foul. So getting back to superstitions or creative thought, as you say, did you have any of those?
Well, no, but I mean, I certainly would have followed. You know, the thing about me, like I would have followed the pattern of Starlin. Like I generally think that way. Most offensive players really do, but you know, you show it in different ways. Meaning, you know, I was the guy that if I got hot in a particular T-shirt underneath my uniform, I mean, I would wear that every day.
Okay,
I mean, it was, you know, very much the same thing. Now I don't know about the steps, but I you know, generally in the on-deck circle, you know, you write things to your kids or different things that mean things to you in the dirt. If you got hot, you kept that going, right? I mean, that was always the idea, and that's kind of what Starlin's getting at, is that, you know, if there was a way in his mind to the success outside of the actual batting,
right,
which is swinging at good pitches and putting the ball in play, well, hard as often as you possibly can, which really lends itself to more base hits than, you know, the number of steps on the left side as opposed to the right. But the point is this, that's kind of where we go with this.
Poked out to short, Kingery to get Riddle by a step. Now, I'm not assuming that you were a Wade Boggs type who had to have chicken every day before the game, but were you the same lunch every day kind of guy?
I'm a very simple eater anyway. I'm not, you know, an elaborate. I'm not. If you know this by now, I don't eat a whole lot of steak. I don't do, but I mean, you know, it just kind of was whatever. I mean, if something was doing well, I suppose I would stay with it.
Okay.
Most guys do. I mean, it's funny because baseball players, like I said, think this way because we play. You know, you play every day, and every day happens. And when every day happens, it's so funny. You know, I'll give you an assignment in the second half. When we get a hot guy, somebody gets really hot.
Right.
Starlin, JT, Bohr, whoever. Watch them more closely when they get hot and just see how they you know, their day, the routine of their day is. Like watch them at batting practice, see what they do, see how they talk, see how they think. It is incredibly repetitive when something good happens, and most everybody does it.
Well, I have noticed, and it even helps for me too, and I am very far from the field, but just the routine kind of takes the thoughts out of a lot of stuff.
Right.
If you leave the house at the same time every day, you generally get to the yard at the same time every day, leaves you enough time to get, you know, ready before the game starts and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
routine very important.
We heard Martin Prado, I'll say this real quick, I know we've got 2 outs and 2 strikes, but Martin Prado talked about this a couple weeks ago when we said Martin got back and he got hot. You know, he started to swing the bat again. What was the first thing he said? I got into my routine in the cage.
Right.
This is where my mind needed to be. This is how many swings I needed to take before the day was ready to start. And when I got into my routine, expectation comes along with that. My routine happens, hits happen. Hits happen, smiles happen. Smiles happen. We want to make smiles happen every day, right?
Right, absolutely.
Get back into your routine.
And you see that with golfers all the time. Something happens, they step away on the green, they have to reset their whole thing, measure the putt and everything else, do it all over again. A 1-2-3 inning for De Los Santos through 4. transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Cleveland Clinic. Come out and join us for our community grand opening event on July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, visit clevelandclinic.org/Coral Springs. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Back here at Marlins Park, a 5-0 deficit for the Marlins as we play on into the top of the 5th. Odubel Herrera to lead things off. Couple of changes in a double switch scenario for the Marlins as Justin Bour comes in to play first base. Out is Garrett Cooper. And into Garrett Cooper's spot in the lineup is Eliezer Hernandez, pitching in his 17th game. First pitch is popped up to Rojas at third. Herrera retired. With one away, it is time for This Day in Major League History, presented to you by Geico. July 15th, 1995. A 15-5 win for the Marlins over the Astros. A club record 24 hits. They had 7 multi-hit games. Gary Sheffield and Terry Pendleton, 4 for 5 each. And 11 Marlins had hits in that game. However, that record fell July 1st, 2003. When the Marlins beat the Braves 20-1 and pounded out 25 hits. Well, it was a week ago this time that the Marlins had 22 hits in Washington, D.C. And now D.C. preparing for the All-Star game. The festivities already underway. They've had some events. I think I saw an Armed Forces Home Run Derby the other day. Today is the Futures game. Tomorrow, the Home Run Derby. The game itself comes your way on Tuesday. Fox has you covered for that. But speaking of the Futures game, of course, the All-Star game was here last year rather. The 2017 Futures game at Marlins Park. Brian Anderson, Lewis Brinson, Tehran Guerrero. On the Marlins side of things, Rhys Hoskins and Scott Kingery, all part of that Futures game last year. And would it shock anyone to refresh their memory that Brian Anderson had a multi-hit game? Right?
I bet it included a double.
It did.
Of course it did.
A single, a double, a run scored. Brinson was 1 for 4. He had a double, a stolen base, a run scored, a walk. Brinson, a member of the Brewers organization at the time, as Hernandez gets the strikeout of Santana.
Two-seam fastball, thigh high, splits the plate. It's enough to get it done against Santana. Boy, oh boy, is he struggling right now. He needs the All-Star break as much as anybody. I think he's had it with the Marlins.
Yeah, Guerrero pitched 2/3 of an inning for the World team. Rhys Hoskins was 1 for 2 before Hoskins burst on the scene not long after and put together one heck of a run for these Philadelphia Phillies, who will enter the break in first place in the National League East. Nick Williams with a fly ball out to center field. Cameron Maben for the final out, a 1-2-3 fifth for Hernandez.
The 5-0 lead over the Marlins in the bottom of the 5th. Well, today is Sandlot Day here at Marlins Park, and much like the characters in the movie, Major League Baseball players also have nicknames, and rookie Pablo Lopez is no exception.
Something funny the other day, we went to a team dinner, and Martin and I were in the same Uber with him, and we started like talking about America history and all that stuff, and he knew every single thing. So now, from now on, if I need anything, instead of go to my phone and open Google or Wikipedia, I'm just gonna ask Pablo. So that's why I'm gonna call him Wikipedia from now on, because if you don't know something, just go to Pablo and ask him, because he will know.
Wikipedia, how about that for a nickname? And how about this for smart? Lopez was accepted into medical school in Venezuela right out of high school. He ended up choosing baseball over becoming a doctor when he was drafted by the Mariners in 2012. But he said it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity he couldn't pass up. But when he's done playing baseball, he intends to go back to school and earn a degree, possibly in medicine. How about that, Holly?
Smart kid.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Good to know his new nickname is Wiki. That's what we're going to call him.
Cameron Maben digs in with one out, takes outside. Did you have one? Was it Holly? Was that was it?
It's been Holly for decades,
but,
pal.
But no, but
just
no,
comes
like
along with the name.
Outside the box thinking, sort of non-name related.
No, well,
nickname.
I got called Popeye a lot. That was kind of like I had a lot of my friends, a lot of my Dominican teammates. You know, they called me Popeye.
Okay.
Which was very popular. I mean, if you've not noticed, I've got long, big elbows and forearms that look like Popeye.
As does Cameron Maben. My goodness, what a shot! Oh man, did he get all of that one? Second homer of the season.
I'll tell you what, you hit him that far, you raise the bar of expectation in the second half. My goodness, he unloaded. No doubter, my goodness, great balance, good follow through, and great extension. That's right, kids at home, he is choking up on his bat as well. Where this ball lands, Paul. We haven't seen too many of these to the left side of this ballpark this season. Up into the Budweiser patio.
And now Justin Bohr down the left field line, a ball on the strike. Well, for Maben again, second homer of the season, and that one, that was off the bat, gone. Wow.
I mean,
and there's a base hit up the middle for JB.
You know what they call that? Like that's an angry home run. You know, you homer in a 5-0 ball game, and it's like, okay, I get it. You know, but that was like an angry homer. You see him up and down the dugout. That's like, yeah, that's right, that's right.
Now we got some numbers on it. Was curious. StatCast powered by AWS tells you that it was 108 off the bat with a projected distance of 429. I'll tell you what, 2 home runs this year for Cameron Maben. It doesn't sound like a lot, as now Dietrich with a base hit into right center field. 2 on and 1 out. But both homers for Maben have been impressive. Dead center field, which not many get hit, and that one up there in left center. Wow.
I've told you, he's now raised the bar of expectation moving into the second half. We were like, oh, okay, Cam's stealing more bases now. I get it. You know, he's hitting better. And, you know, when you start going stretch like that, 430, as you mentioned a week or two ago, to dead center field, you raise the level of expectation on in the power department. So, you know, we're going to be saying, chance for Cam to tie up this ball game with one swing of the bat.
Absolutely. Pitching coach Rick Kranitz out to talk with De Los Santos, who's now up over 70 pitches, giving up the home run and back-to-back singles. So 3 consecutive hits for the Marlins as they try to dent even further this now 5-1 deficit with the right part of the order. Anderson, who got a base hit in the first inning and grounded out in the third, will face De Los Santos for a third time. And this, of course, is Anderson, who started the day third in Major League Baseball with a .402 batting average with runners in scoring position.
Well, you certainly hope here in the fifth inning the Marlins can climb all the way back into this ball game. Remember, they missed on some opportunities early, but they put together some quality at bats against De Los Santos, just not in this situation. Hitless this afternoon with runners in scoring position.
Next pitch for De Los Santos will be number 75. That's why you see action in the bullpen as Edubre Ramos, the righty, is up for the Phils. Hitters count for Anderson 2-0. Right field. This sends Williams back, and that one is gone. A three-run home run down the right field line for Anderson, and it's 5-4.
He continues to impress. The batting average with runners in scoring position, capitalizing on key moments in a ball game. And how about the approach? Almost always middle away when he's got a chance to do damage. Rewarded. 8th home run, right field line. 5-4 ball game. Well, the eyes tell the entire story. Right down the line. That's what his intentions were all along. He was going to right in a big way.
Well, he's still got a couple of at-bats left before the All-Star break. But and I think this is the case for some people, if home runs are the only thing keeping him out of being the lead dog for Rookie of the Year in the National League, well, he's turned it on the last couple of weeks. Everything else, defense, durability, clutch hitting, everything else has been great this first half for Brian Anderson. And if the homers are coming too, well, then look out.
It's been impressive, I'll tell you. Ranted and raved, and you're right. You're talking about the results. You know, I'm talking about the approach. It's just been so impressive to watch. I love the old school, new school conversation when it comes to Brian Anderson, and I think that's where most of us here with the Marlins take such a great deal of pride. That caught JT on the knee. This circle change. Chases inside, just above that right knee.
Well, that's going to be it for De Los Santos. Phillies scored 5 in the fourth. The Marlins so far have scored 4 in the fifth, as Gabe Kapler comes out to make the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Trading runs here at Marlins Park, now 5-4. Run game here in the bottom of the 5th inning, 1 on, 1 out. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic, loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Well, Edubre Ramos in the game for the Phillies, his 38th game of the year. We'll try, from a Phillies perspective, to stop the bleeding. Marlins looking to keep it rolling. They've scored 4 in the inning, and they've got the tying run on first.
Ramos, a 1.11 ERA. He's had a fantastic first half. Right-handed hitters to a 200 batting average, just 15 for 75 against him. He's inherited 19 runners, 4 have scored. Marlins have seen him 3 times. This is his 4th time against the Marlins. 2018. No earned runs.
Well, for a Marlins team that in this first half, we've talked about it, has a different look this year than it did last year. There have not been many 3-run home runs, but I tell you what, Don Mattingly is not going to give it back, as that closed the gap real quick. 2 homers in the inning so far, 1 for Cameron Maben, an absolute blast to left field, and then 1 the opposite way down the right field line for Anderson, a 3-run homer.
I'll tell you what, the Maben homer, no doubt, got everybody inspired a little bit.
And now a line drive base hit for Castro. The 5th hit of the inning for the Marlins.
Well, don't stop now, boys. Keep it going. Here's a look back at the 2 home runs that got this inning going. The Maben home run, to me, maybe it woke everybody up in the building. Well, all the Marlins people anyway. Because here you go. That fastball up and away. Brian Anderson, my goodness, he hits that pitch as well as any right-handed hitter from a righty. It's high praise for somebody with limited experience, but I'll tell you what, he really does.
JT Riddle fouls that one off down the left side. 0 for 2 today.
You know, that swing from Anderson, you know, we were talking about, you know, who needs a rest, right? Castro and Anderson, they've each, you know, basically missed 1 game, but it's that kind of production that, yeah, we can't not give you a day off. Sorry, buddy. You'll be playing every day the rest of the way. You got to play.
This is Santana at first to step on the bag, and I think he thought there were 2 outs. Not that there could have been a play at second base, but I think he took a step toward the dugout, and I can hear someone yell, like, don't fall asleep just yet. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Didn't even think about second. Right about there, but hey.
You might be right. Carlos Santana knows this game has changed. What was once a 5-0 Phillies lead is now a 5-4 ball game, 1 hit away from the Marlins retaking this lead potentially. Martin Prado steps in, 1 for 2 pinch hitting this season. He's done a very nice job throughout his career. 18 for 59, 305. Does have a couple homers.
Those last 10 games hitting .400 with a home run and 6 RBIs. In fact, he's had 3 multi-hit games since he was activated off the DL. And he is the 9th man to come to the plate in this inning for the Marlins. Takes a strike.
Right? Well, I mean, we only saw 4 runs scored in 2 ball games, so no surprise in game 3. Both lineups have now batted around halfway through.
2-0 the first 2 days. A win for each. Did he go? He did not, says the first base umpire, Gary Cedarstrom. Realmuto, the runner at third, Castro at second. 4 runs in the inning for the Marlins. Here's the 2-1 to Prado. Takes low, 3-1.
Now that's a great take by Prado. I'll tell you what. You can see what Ramos was thinking there. Got nearly the swing, the check swing on the previous slider. He's like, I'm going to go back to the slider once again. There's no way Prado's going to lay off at this time. What's he do? He spits on it. Now 3-1.
Miguel Rojas waits on deck.
Rojas has really seen nothing but sliders this entire at bat.
Wow. That's a great take by Prado. You know, we mentioned it early, that lower third of the strike zone, the pitch at the knees wasn't a strike early. It wasn't a strike there.
You're making the argument for consistency. It's not the question of right or wrong. You're just talking merely consistency in the game. We've seen it, right? Yeah. I mean, I get it. I certainly understand the reaction on both sides. We've seen that pitch today. Call the ball.
They are loaded. Realmuto, Castro, Prado. The runners third to first. Here is Miguel Rojas, who led off this inning with a ground ball to Kingery at short. And now out to center field, falling fast and in there for a base hit. 1 run will score. Here's the second. Rojas gives the Marlins a 6-5 lead.
Get it done. They will not stop. Tell you what, 7-4 over their last 11 games here at Marlins Park. Last game before the All-Star break, down 5-0. This offense has responded. My goodness, here in the 5th inning. And once again, a first pitch slider and just enough to extend into center field. Drops it in. The Marlins will score, and the Marlins will take the lead 6-5.
And now
go ahead. Guy started it all.
Yeah, with the home run. Nearly 430 feet to left field for the second time here in the 5th. Cameron Maben is at the dish. That one blocked by Knapp behind home plate. A ball and no strikes. What a turn of events. And now listen, there's still half a game to go, but if this game doesn't kind of sum up the first half for the Marlins just in terms of their grit, their resolve, then I don't know what does. Down 5-0 to a first place team. They now have a 6-5 lead.
Just when you think they're off the radar, they do things like this to you to get you back in, right? We were all looking the other way. We were all having other conversations, and Maben goes 429 to left center field.
And up the middle, Kingery gets to it. The flip, and Rojas is safe at second base. Oh, what an effort by Kingery, but the hustle by Rojas to get there before the ball.
Hill hard hit back through the box. You're right, Kingery. Tremendous effort to get up the middle right there. All he's got is a glove flip to Hernandez. That's the only shot he's got. Knows he doesn't have a whole lot of time. Rojas running hard. You see him slide head first into second.
Now they are loaded for Justin Bour.
Oh my, has this gotten messy for the Philadelphia Phillies. We were just chatting in between innings. Remember, they were thinking about taking De Los Santos out in the top of the 4th inning.
For a pinch hitter, you're right.
Right. I mean, we backed this all the way up to the initial thought from Gabe Kapler, and he was thinking about taking him out with a potentially 2-0 lead. Of course, the Phillies opened it up that 4th inning. De Los Santos in the ballgame.
Another Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. 3rd pitcher of the inning for the Phillies with the Marlins up 6-5. Inning so far for the Marlins. They still have the bases loaded and 2 outs. Take a look at this. The 6 runs ties a season high for the 4th time, and the 7 hits in this inning, a new season high. That's your Florida Lottery in-game jackpot for Don Mattingly's Miami Marlins.
Hashtag just getting started.
That's right. Absolutely. And the 3rd pitcher to just get started in this inning for the Phillies, Adam Morgan. Now it started with De Los Santos, done after 4 1/3. 5 of the runs charged to him. Ramos, 1 of them, but the 3 runners on base, all Ramos's. As Bour takes a called strike. Bour singled and scored earlier this inning, came in as part of a double switch.
Now Morgan has really been scuffling of late. 10 earned runs in his last 9 innings of work. Remember, he started the season hot. He was one of the go-to guys in this Phillies bullpen. 1.76 ERA. First 22 appearances. Now, last 15, just like I mentioned, 10 earned runs, 10 ERA.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Bour. Line, base hit, right field. Oh boy. In comes Prado and Rojas. Bour with the 2nd hit of the inning, and it's now 8-5 Marlins.
Can't stop them now. Wow. I'll tell you what, this inning alone really sums up what we've seen in the last 6 weeks from this Marlins ball club. May I remind everybody, this is the last game before the All-Star break. Speaking from the player perspective, This doesn't happen like this. It's not the way that these games go. Marlins are putting together quality at-bats. They're focusing on what they're looking to accomplish. Good swings, good approaches.
Dietrich to center field. Herrera puts it away. How about an 8-run 5th inning for the Marlins? It all started with the home run from Cameron Maben. That made it 5-1. And then Brian Anderson, a 3-run shot, made it 5-4. They added 4 more. They're up by 3. Phillies put 5 on the board in the 4th inning, and then Maben and Anderson with home runs, all part of an 8-run 5th inning. Time for the Coors Light timeless moment. Cal Ripken Jr., July 15th, 1993, hits home run number 287 to pass Ernie Banks for the Major League record for shortstops in terms of home runs. And that record still stands. He's got 348 as a shortstop. Alex Rodriguez 344 as a shortstop. Miguel Tejada 271. Derek Jeter 255 as Javi Guerra takes over. Maikel Franco pokes one right side. Bore the flip to Guerra for the first out here in the 6th.
Nice job by Guerra right there. First pitch slider against the first pitch swinging Maikel Franco. My goodness. Seen 3 pitches today. He did this yesterday too.
It's fascinating.
It really is.
I take more swings to see more pitches in batting practice.
I'm telling you, I was a first pitch fastball hitter, but I've never seen anything like this, even in a series. I mean, I'm not sure he's seen 20 pitches in the entire series.
Fascinating. Maybe he's got a commercial flight out of Miami he doesn't want to miss, and he's doing his part.
Well, he's clearly getting slowed down by his teammates.
Exactly. Wow, what a turn of events this has been. This is Scott Kingery, who had an RBI single in the 5-run 4th inning. Now out to right field. Anderson toward the line will make the catch. 2 up and 2 down.
Aaron Altherr is going to step in and pinch hit here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. He's going to pinch hit a couple innings ago under some different circumstances. Now chasing 3. Altherr 5 for 21 as a pinch hitter. Home run, 3 doubles. He heads up. A couple of home runs in his career. 7 for 31.
Well, it was Altherr, to get back to your point from earlier, that was in the on-deck circle earlier in the game, and you thought, well, all right, they're gonna go for the jugular here. They're gonna go to the bench.
Right? Isn't it such an interesting dynamic? And we were talking about, like, if this game finishes where it's at, with the Marlins in the lead. We saw Gabe Kapler, and again, going back to the beginning of the year, a lot of the story was, taking Nola out of the ball game early, going into the bullpen. Well, he was thinking about doing that today. Go all the way back to the 4th. He potentially was thinking about pinch hitting for De Los Santos before his second at bat in the 4th inning. I'm not going to dare play devil's advocate, but look at the score now, look at the circumstances, and look what happened in the 5th.
Yep.
Interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's called strike 3, and the inning is over. So Javi Guerra sets the Phillies down in order. It's 8-5. What an amazing inning it was the last time the Marlins came to the plate, but what a nice little run for Ryan Lilly as we take a look at the Chevrolet minor league spotlight. 16 starts, a couple of complete games, 90 strikeouts in 90 innings pitched. A 5th round pick out of UC Riverside in 2017. And now Lilly doing it for the Jupiter Hammerheads down at A-ball, a team that's 5 games over 500.
See that strikeout to walk ratio? That's about 7. My goodness. 90 strikeouts, only 13 walks. Good stuff.
It is. As Tommy Hunter comes into the ball game, his 36th of the year. He'll face Brian Anderson, JT Realmuto, and Starlin Castro here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And it was Anderson who connected on a 3-run home run, just the 9th 3-run homer for the Marlins this year.
It's been so impressive to watch this young man develop here. I think back to even what he brought to the table in September 2017 to what we've seen in the first half. It has been, well, it has been a fun run. We talk about the futures game and the numbers there, and to how he fit into the Marlins plan. Look at the numbers he has put up in the first half. It's just amazing. Watch his game blossom.
It's a ground ball to third. Franco comes up with it. Well, a pretty loud way, I would say, for Brian Anderson, the 3-run home run. Yet another multi-hit game for him. He now has 32 multi-hit games this year, and that is tops on the club. It also leads all rookies, and he is approaching the top 5 in the National League in multi-hit games. So terrific first half, and here is all-star JT Realmuto. Swings at the first one, sends it out to right center field. Herrera a couple of steps in front of the track, and there are 2 away. Well, for Hunter, a 6.55 ERA his last 12 appearances. His job right now, figure out a way to quiet the Marlins offense, which awoke in a big way. 8 runs, 8 hits in the 5th inning.
You're absolutely right. 348 batting average against his last 11 innings. 7 extra base hits. Starlin Castro looking to catch up to Brian Anderson and tie him for the team lead in multi-hit games. Of course, he needs one more hit. Single his last time up to extend that 5th inning.
Marlins have won 7 of 11 at home. 4 of the last 5 home series. Overall, they are 20-18 in their last 38 games. And since, what, the middle of June, it's been a story of an awful lot of comeback wins for the Marlins. They did that wild series against the Giants where it seemed like it was back and forth for all 4 of those games. There were some other comeback wins. Just in the last week or so, they've had 3 walk-off wins. They've played some exciting baseball heading toward the All-Star break. There it is, a base hit for Castro. 32 multi-hit games for him. Take that, BA. A fun competition between those two.
Yeah, I'm just keeping my eye on the steps he walked up before that.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right.
Clearly found the right path to the batter's box his last 2 times up. Yeah, nice swing. We know Starlin Castro likes to swing the bat, and when he gets locked in, boy oh boy, it is line drives usually all over the field. We've seen that here last couple of at bats.
Just out of the reach of Kingery, and that'll bring up JT Riddle. Riddle today 0 for 3.
JT's due.
Yeah, he is. Just looking, he's the only one without a hit.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that.
But certainly not due in a general sense. Over the course of his last 20 games, entering today was hitting over 300. Couple of home runs, 13 RBIs. Upstairs, a ball and a strike. Adam Conley up in the pen for Miami. 9-1-2 due up for the Phillies in the top of the 7th. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs with Castro on the move from first. Riddle gets a piece and fouls it back. De Los Santos went the first 4 1/3 today, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. And then Ramos, Morgan, and now Hunter. Strands a runner in the 6th. 8-5 Miami. summary. It'll all be summarized into a couple of half innings. First for the Phillies, Cesar Hernandez down the right field line clears the bases with a 3-run triple, part of a 5-run fourth for the Phils. But here come the Marlins. They erupted in the 5th. First, Cameron Maybin with a solo home run. Brian Anderson the other way, a 3-run shot. That made it 5-4. They were not done. Justin Bour rips one there. Brought home 2 more. All part of an 8-run 5th inning. Other than that, zeros on the scoreboard. Kind of like what we've seen in this entire series. The first 2 games were 2-0. Today, outside of the top of the 4th and the bottom of the 5th, nothing. But you don't play the game that way. Andrew Knapp with a line drive to Castro. And there is one away. So it's 8-5 today. How about that?
Well, a good start to the 7th inning. I tell you, Knapp, he had been a trouble starter. On base all 4 times up until that last at bat. Walks, couple of hits. You want to keep things in order as this game moves to the later innings.
Cesar Hernandez, who had that bases clearing 3-base hit in the 4th inning. He bats with nobody on and 1 out here in the 7th. Takes low from Javi Guerra, who's in his 2nd inning of work. Of course, Guerra had terrific numbers in the minor leagues before being recalled by Miami. He's been very good out of the pen for Don Mattingly.
Just 1 solo home run. That's it. A couple of outings ago against the Brewers, he was able to go multiple innings.
Well, it's nice to have a second guy who can give you multiple innings, because I don't know if this is exactly how they were hoping it would go. At the time, they liked the alternative to it, but when Eliezer Hernandez came into the game down 5-0, first thing I thought of was, okay, he may be trying to finish out this game and just, you know, save some arms, eat up some outs, and move on to the next game. But they had to pinch hit for him because they batted around in the inning. And like I said, the Marlins will certainly take the alternative, the 8-run inning. So only the 1 inning of work for Hernandez, but now they'll see to get some length out of Guerra. Jump into a summer of savings with the Marlins Flex 4-pack. You can customize a plan to save on individual game pricing and lock in priority access to giveaways. Starting at just $20, take your pick of games and access giveaways, including our first ever celebrity bobbleheads featuring Pitbull and DJ Khaled. Visit marlins.com/flex4 today. That's July 29th against the Nationals. There's Rhys Hoskins. Takes the ball outside. Hoskins today, a walk in the 1st, a ground ball in the 3rd, and a strikeout in the 4th inning. And broke his bat on the cue shot into the Phillies dugout, right off the end of the bat.
And that's what happens when the baseball hits the cup. A lot of times it will kind of rip the wood apart. You see it there. You end up with a splintered bat. The reason hitters have a cup in the first place is to take off an extra ounce or so. They can lighten their bat a little bit. It's at a place in the bat where you can do that and really not compromise the wood or compromise the feel of the bat. Some guys have them, some guys don't.
Neshek, who got the save on Friday night, begins to loosen. And 2 pitches upstairs to Hoskins. Right up close to the face, not dangerously close, but you do notice the extra elongated face guard for Hoskins. Broke his jaw earlier this year in a foul ball. Swung on and missed for the second out of the inning.
Catch baseball's biggest stars for an unforgettable show from the nation's capital. MLB All-Star Game Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. Streaming live on the Fox Sports app. I'll tell you what, Hoskins has really been struggling with the breaking ball at the top of the zone. It's the second time this afternoon he has struck out on that pitch.
Don Mattingly out. Adam Conley in. And looks like Yadiel Rivera also in. We'll get through all the particulars of the double switch when we come back. One on and two out. Yadiel Rivera stays in the ball game, and he will take over at shortstop, so that takes JT Riddle out of the game. Other half of the double switch is Adam Conley, who's been very good out of the bullpen for the Marlins. Maybe a hiccup here or there, but generally speaking, take a look at the opponent batting average at just 150. 29 strikeouts to 9 walks in this his 24th game. He'll face the lefty Odubel Herrera.
Right. You know, you look at Conley's numbers, you speak to hit ability, and he hasn't been given that. You know, he's not a guy that you're comfortable against. 150 batting average against. You look at the ERA and say, well, he's given up some damage. Yeah, that all came in one outing. In fact, 5 outings ago in Washington, walked 4, and it led to certainly a bad line. And since that outing, by the way, he walked 4. This was on July 5th, the day after the 4th. There you go. That's what the 5th is. 2 hits, 4 walks, 5 earned runs. And here's what you want to know. 3 appearances, 4 innings, no walks, 7 strikeouts. I mean, talk about making an adjustment or recovering from a bad outing. Right back to his dominant self. .79 ERA here at Marlins Park this season. Lefty's 143, righty's 156. Slider has reappeared over his last 2 or 3 outings. Good to see.
Odubel Herrera with a double and a run scored earlier in this game. Those are the numbers against Conley in his career. Herrera thought it was outside. Home plate umpire Todd Titchener says that is strike 2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. This game moves to the middle of the 7th. Conley comes in, gets the strikeout of Herrera, and protects a 3-run lead. Park, last ball game before the All-Star break. Aaron Nola and JT Realmuto, the 2 All-Stars currently here in Miami. Of course, Nola, the lone representative for the Phils, and JT for the Marlins, both be heading D.C., where the Futures game is going to be getting underway in about a half an hour or so. The USA versus the world, but here it is an 8-5 ball game. Pat Neshek, who got the save on Friday in the opener, a 2-0 Phillies win, is back out on the mound with kind of that funky, unorthodox setup and delivery, but it has been working for him this year, and this is 6th game. Well, the Futures game, the first real big event, and then there's the Home Run Derby tomorrow. You see how they do it with the brackets. They've done this the last couple of years. Aguilar against Hoskins, Bregman against Schwarber, Harper against Freeman, Muncy against Baez. Holly, who you got?
I'm going National League.
Oh, I like that. A 7/8 chance.
I've got a 7 1/8 chance if I go National League this year. All right, there you go. That's my guy. Listen, I've had the privilege of watching Schwarber grow up a little bit. When he got to the big leagues, I'll tell you what. I don't want to call it inside information because I know we're on air right now and I'm giving everybody some inside information.
Right.
But Schwarber has got as much easy power as anybody on that list. And I'm going ahead, I'm including his teammate, Javi Baez, who hit some of the most impressive home runs that you'll ever see. But this man has got power to all fields, whatever he so chooses. If he decides to go to left field, I'd bet on him going to left center field. If he wants to go center or right, I'd bet on him then too.
All right, all right. I'm going to go with a guy who knows the ballpark pretty well. I'm going to go with Bryce Harper. And that'll be a popular choice. As Yadiel Rivera digs in, squares to bunt, pulls back, but I think there's going to be an unleashing of emotions this week for Bryce Harper. I think there's a little bit of frustration. Again, I'm not in that clubhouse. We've only seen him for, 6 games this year, but there's just been some frustrations building there in D.C., and I think he lets it all out tomorrow night in the Derby.
Yeah, that's tremendous reasoning. I'm with you because I know he's been struggling like crazy.
Yeah.
He has not been able to get out of that slump.
Could be like the opposite effect because every year we hear, oh, the Derby is the Derby, and throw a guy's swing off.
You think the Derby's going to throw his swing back in the line?
Maybe swing on. No swing off. It'll be a swing on. This is a swing by Rivera to deep center field, and Herrera a step or two on the track for out number 1. I'll tell you what, Rivera's been putting a charge into some ball. He hit the home run in D.C. last week, and then he almost hit one out in extra innings the other day, and then this one gave it a ride to center.
Yeah, his exit velocity has increased this last 4 to 6 weeks. I'll tell you, he too has been a work in progress. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time early on in the season. It's getting more and more, and a lot of that is not just based on his glove. That's what he was supposed to be for this Marlins team. A lot of it's been based on the glove and the bat. He's been a lot more productive of late. Well, for Neshek, his 500th career game is going on right now. Congratulations to him. That is definitely a benchmark in one's career. Speaks to the longevity and the success that he has had. Hey.
Neshek, a guy who's 37 years old. Been around a little bit. Started with the Minnesota Twins in 2006. Played 2011 with the Padres, 12 and 13 in Oakland, 2014 in St. Louis, a couple of years in Houston, and now Colorado-Philly mashup the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. Last year, a big year for him. Went to the All-Star game.
Swung on and missed. Rojas down for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Cameron Maybin, who got the Marlins on the board with a long home run to left center field that started an 8-run 5th inning.
Well, let's not forget, lost in all of that. You know, a base hit his second time up in the 5th inning, which extended the inning, which led to the Bohr base hit. There you go. Beautiful swing of the bat. We've seen it a number of times this afternoon, but 430 feet. My goodness. The longer home runs we've seen at Marlins Park this season. I'll tell you what, every hit in the 5th inning was important. Well, what are you guys waiting for? Another one? What do you think? He's got 2 in him today?
Well, again, Maybin making the most of his increased playing time the last week or so. And Lewis Brinson on the Marlins Live pregame show today. Brinson, you know, I say working his way back, but there hasn't been much work yet, only because they're trying to rest him and rehab him. Be out a couple of more weeks with that bone bruise. So Maybin making the most of it. Another base hit for Cameron Maybin.
Tell you what, boy, he has locked himself in. Such a nice approach. This afternoon, this slider with 2 strikes, it's where Neshek likes to go, misses. Again, I tell you all the time, when a guy gets locked in at home plate, you see the mistakes that pitchers make. They're made to pay for them just about every time. That mistake right there, a hanging slider, Maybin all over it. Nice approach. He can go the other way.
It's his 3rd 3-hit game of the year, and that's going to send Pat Neshek out of the game. The Florida Lottery called to the bullpen with an 8-5 Marlins lead. Looking for more. 1 on and 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Justin Bour will face Austin Davis. Tomalo Suave, Miami. Join the Marlins and the Riboli Family Wines on Friday, July 27th for the Marlins' first wine event of the season. With a purchase of a ticket package, you'll receive a flight of Riboli wine with a food pairing for each sample for just $30. Visit marlins.com/wine today. So Austin Davis takes over. Seen a good look at the Phillies bullpen today. He is the 6th pitcher. Maben will get to second on the wild throw from Santana on his way to third. Well, that's making the most of a bad opportunity, a bad situation, as he was picked off but just kept on running. Santana's throw high at second, and Maben to third now with 2 outs.
Well, he's going to get a stolen base and an E3. I mean, that's the rule book. Listen, lefty, you're going first move, and you put pressure on Santana to make a fantastic, accurate throw. And guess what? It's not fantastic. Guess what? It's definitely not accurate. Sailing into left field. Maben up off second and on his way over to third. Everything going right now. 8th stolen base on the season, 5th in his last 6 games.
Now Justin Bour. A hit and a run scored in his first at-bat in the 5th inning, I must clarify. And then a 2 RBI single in his second at-bat in the 5th inning. All part of that 8-run, 8-hit 5th for Miami. In the air, right field, and deep at the wall. That is Williams with just enough real estate. Just missed it. But it's 8-5 going to the 8th. First pitch of the inning is lofted out to shallow left. Yadiel Rivera is back, and he will make the play.
Oh, wow.
That was a long run for Dietrich, and perhaps even longer for Rivera, who's tracking it down.
Now that's a pretty good look of where Yadi started and where he actually ends up catching this ball. I mean, that's just a little bit beyond shallow left field, I'll tell you. That's some great range. It's going to be our Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day. Why not? We're not giving bonus points for diving today. We don't have to do that. Just range factor.
We like range. Range is good. Well, Nick Williams showed a little bit of range in right field on the last play of the bottom of the inning. Real Muto behind home plate throws it right into Williams, and he'll reach. Actually, he will not reach. So Real Muto, the way that rule is set up is kind of funky, because if the runner is outside that box 45 feet down the line, if Real Muto, in this case, throws it into the runner, the umpire can say, you're out.
No. Well, look, he's no doubt inside the baseline. That's where he's running. Look at his lane.
Well,
look where he's at.
That's where this rule gets funky. He's technically in the baseline, but he's got to be running inside that box.
Oh, no, right. But I'm saying he's on the left side of the line. It's
right.
Like, I mean, the funny thing is that he started out in the right position, and you could almost sense it. Williams was maybe creeping up on what he thought was going to be a base hit or an opportunity to be safe at first base, and started to drift back to the inside of the line. Yeah, you watch right now, he's on it. You're seeing it about halfway. Next thing you know, he's still another 6-8 inches farther over. He's not even touching the line anymore.
And with that, sometimes you'll see the player, again in this case Real Muto, kind of throw high to throw over him.
Right.
And then that's when
you make the mistake.
Right. The umpires say, all right, well, that's a bad throw.
Well, what will end up happening is you'll see defenders start to make an adjustment, and you don't want to do that. You want to play the game and play the rule or play the ball the way that you normally would, because again, the umpires have to see it that way.
Right.
Remember, we had, what was it, a playoff game? I think it was last year. We had somebody, I can't remember who it was, but tried to throw over a runner, and that was his argument, was that he was running out of the baseline, but the throw ended up going down the line, and in fact, they let the play go because it was a terrible throw.
And almost like the NFL, an uncatchable ball
right.
for the first baseman. Right. Well, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Upstairs to Maikel Franco. Victor Arano up for the Phillies. Franco down the left field line into the seat, still 3-2. While I've got a second, want to say thanks and good luck to Dan Marcus, engineer in charge, retiring to a 50-acre ranch in Wyoming. And if today is the signing off day, what a game it's been. A 5-run deficit turned into a 3-run lead in rather short order. Franco right field line. Into the glove of Brian Anderson. There's Dan Marcus. There you go. Thanks for the hard work. A 50-acre ranch, and he's taken all of his buddies with him, I think. Maybe not. Congratulations. Back here at Marlins Park, an 8-5 lead for Miami. As we go to the last of the 8th, Derek Dietrich to lead things off. And that one got him on the hand, it looks like. Up and in from Austin Davis. Unfortunately up quick for Dietrich. Painful way to reach here in the 8th inning.
Now this fastball up and in. Starts his swing. A lot of times we talk about that pinch on the bottom hand. A lot of times the hand gets hit. Obviously some of that skin gets pinched between the hand and the bat.
Now Gabe Kapler going to come out and make yet another pitching change. Looks like Michael Franco is coming out and Jesmuel Valentin is in, as is Victor Arano. Another Florida Lottery call to the bullpen after the hit by pitch here in the 8th. Of the 8th inning. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.TV. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. There's a base hit. Past Valentin just in the game. Another knock for Anderson. To third goes Dietrich. Well, that's 3 hits today for BA.
Now 23rd double on the season for Brian Anderson. He does this sometimes in his at-bats, thinking early pull. Gets a slider, just enough of it to tuck it inside the third base line.
His 6th 3-hit game of the year. The only guy with more, JT Realmuto, who is at the plate right now. Infield in for the Phillies as that one gets away from Knapp, and this time Dietrich will come in to score. To third goes Anderson, 9-5.
Just about everything coming unraveled for the Phillies right now. This is going to go as a pass ball. Second one of the ball game. They're going to
JT lines one to left. Anderson tags from third. No throw. 10-5.
They're going to continue to add to the lead. My goodness gracious. 10 unanswered runs by the Marlins this afternoon.
Oh, by the way, there's Esmael Valentin, who was barely in the game before Anderson doubled right by him. Starlin Castro swings and misses.
The ball will find you.
Yes, yes, it will. Yes, it will. Victor Arano, in his 34th game this year, has already allowed 2 runs to score. 10-5 Marlins. Kyle Bearclaw on the left, Ben Meyer on the right. A 5-run lead. Bearclaw might be shutting it down for the day. Looked like Meyer was heating up rather quickly. 2 outs here in the 8th. All right, well, Pablo Lopez going to get a chance to hit here.
Well, why not? He's got a walk. He's got a knock on the season. He's got a base hit the other way.
Saw him working on his tagging the other day from third base on a fly ball. The only other position player available is Brian Holiday. So Lopez in a 5-run game gets an at-bat. Oh yeah, Wikipedia. Got to call him Wikipedia.
Wiki,
yeah.
I like it.
Not to be confused with Yiki.
We've got one of those too.
Right.
That's not a bad swing. He's going to have to work on tracking the ball off the bat, though. I've noticed that about his swing. I think he was thinking back even to his base hit, which he lined into left. It's a good swing. But I think he was looking to right, if I remember correctly. He's looking to right, swinging to left. That happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes the game speeds up on you a little bit. He's got a pretty good approach, though. Stays square, doesn't cheat.
How about that? How about
Just
it?
like the last time.
Slaps one down the line. Well, just one of those days for the Marlins, I guess.
Well, one thing I know is that that's not even his first pitch hitting appearance of the season. I mean, he's only got 6 at-bats now, 7. He's 2 for 7 on the season. In fact, this all caught my attention because, if I remember correctly, Lopez pinch hit before he actually got a big league hit. So word had been out that he can handle himself in the batter's box.
Here's Yadiel Rivera. Takes outside. 10 runs on 15 hits today for the Marlins. At the end of 3.5 innings of play today, they were down 5-0. And they are on the precipice of taking 2 out of 3 from first place teams in back-to-back series. Took 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers, both on walk-off wins. And up by 5 as we play here in the bottom of the 8th against the Philadelphia Phillies. Phils with a 1.5 lead in the East at the moment, while they trail by 5 in the 8th inning. The Atlanta Braves lead by 5 in the 8th inning in Atlanta. Taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, who actually just scored a run on a John Jay home run. So now it's 5-1. Inning over, but 2 more in as the Marlins go to the 9th, up 10-5. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Beautiful day here in Miami. A fun ball game today. Once down 5-0, it is now 10-5 Marlins. As they are 3 outs away from the All-Star break. Ben Meyer will try to register those last 3 outs, pitching in his 7th game this year. He'll face Scott Kingery and then Valentin and Knapp. In there for a called strike. Kingery, an RBI single and a run scored in the 4th inning. That's when the Phillies tallied all of their runs today. You know, we had something, first 2 games in the series, by the way, again, 2-0 win by the Phillies, 2-0 win by the Marlins. We had something earlier in the game that the series, the 3-game series with the fewest runs scored was Rockies Marlins. 9 runs scored back in April. Well, that record is safe.
Yeah.
Things opened up today in the middle innings.
Well, it certainly did. Lost in all of this is the fact that the Phillies batted around in the 4th. That's right. 5 spot, top 4. That's where they got their 5 runs. About an inning later, a little over an inning later, the Marlins responded with their biggest single inning of the first half. 8 runs in the bottom of the 5th. A couple of home runs. 2-run shot by Brian Anderson. Still in awe of the Cameron Maben home run. Honestly, I'm not sure I've seen him hit a ball that far in batting practice this year.
You know what? You might be right. That was what did we say it was? 429?
429,
like
yeah. He hit it so far, we had people hanging around for his next at bat thinking another one was coming up there. Yeah, up there in the the Budweiser porch.
Yeah.
There you go. Everybody stood up when he came up his 2nd, 3rd time, like, oh, he's going to do it again.
Swung on and missed.
Yeah, we like to show this. StatCast powered by AWS. Take a look where this ball lands. It's right up in the Budweiser bar.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
that's right.
And I'll tell you what, Cam has been outside the home runs and the defense. He's been great for this team. Skipper was talking about it the other day, just kind of what he's meant to this club. Generally speaking, a young club. He's got that veteran presence. He's certainly taken Lewis Brinson under his wing.
I don't give him credit for waiting patiently, too. Let's be honest. Others have been afforded the opportunity to play in front of him, not necessarily with success driving the conversation. I think we've had a few instances where some players were giving, playing time based on what was going on around them and circumstance, and it wasn't just based on merely performance. He waited patiently, obviously got an opportunity to get in there and has capitalized on that opportunity.
Well, you've been around a lot more clubs, on them certainly, throughout your career. But from what I've seen every day with this team, and trust me when I say this is really just you and I talking, this is not me as a broadcaster saying this, but like I've seen a terrific chemistry with this club. And just the way that guys kind of talk and joke around with one another, and we see how they interact in the plane and in the hotels and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's been really impressive. So much so I've talked to some of the players about it too, and they certainly agree. I've asked them, like, you guys all really do get along, don't you? Yeah, absolutely we do. And I know that team chemistry is something that sometimes gets thrown around, and it's always, the winning teams, the teams with these winning records, they've got the most team chemistry. But you know what? From what I've seen, there's been a lot of that this year in the first half.
Both the starters, the supporting cast, and listen, we talk about a healthy environment for players to play, and that's what this has become. You got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff, to Don Mattingly, a fantastic first half. I'm not talking wins and losses here. I'm talking growth, talking organizational philosophy, and what we've seen from this group. This team continues to get better, and this, to me, today is an exclamation mark.
Anderson chasing this one down in right center field. He will get there. And the All-Star break is upon us. It's a Marlins win, 10-5 today, as they come back from a 5-0 deficit. Cameron Maben with a monster home run. Brian Anderson a 3-run shot. We'll break it all down on the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show with Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Jeff Nelson. We'll hear from Don Mattingly. And wow, what a way to end this first half as this team, this Marlins team, well, they have won 21 of the last 39 games. We'll see in a few days from St. Pete. 10-5. Marlins Live next.